What is going on, everybody? It is Craig, and we are back with movie number 30. St. Patrick's Day, the Sluagh, how do you pronounce it? Awakens. When I watched the trailer for this, I subtly convinced myself that it was it had to be one of the Muck movies in the Muck series. And Muck was a horror movie that came out mid 2010s. That was supposed to be one of a trilogy, albeit this was the second part. So this was supposed to be a prequel and another. I guess sort of like Pearl, and with X. And I saw a trailer, and that's what I thought. And I started looking into it a little bit, and it doesn't look like it is. And after watching it, I didn't necessarily see a connection. However, as someone who did enjoy Muck and saw Muck, if this wasn't a sequel or prequel to it, it definitely was a script that was meant for it at one point, and then they just changed it around because it had many of the same angles. The creatures weren't the greatest looking. There was lots of excessive nudity just to have it, which, I guess that's a little bit of a throwback to some of the '80s stuff. But Muck did it big time. This movie didn't do it as big, but did it fairly large as well, and none of it was really needed. I say that. It's not as if I'm like, how dare they show that scene? But, sometimes it fits more than it did in this one. This, it seems like they did it just to do it. Which, again, no complaints, I suppose. But, it's, you don't always, there's some movies, especially slashes, you almost have that because, oh no, they gotta get killed after they have sex, that trope. In this, it wasn't really anything like that. In fact, in this movie, the only people the person that sex didn't get killed. One of them did eventually, but long, long after it. It was an okay movie. One of those deals like, oh, don't go camping that. I can't do. I'm Irish. I can't do an Irish accent. Don't go camping under the wormwood moon. It's like a red moon. Because that's when the Sluagh comes out. And in the beginning of the movie, we saw it kill a woman, and then her husband came back 7 years later to try to get justice. Which is what the sequel to Jeepers Creepers should have been, with the sister coming back 30 some odd years to get justice. But instead, we got one of the worst sequels ever made in Jeepers Creepers 3. Actually, that's not true. Jeepers Creepers 3 wasn't that bad when you compare it to Jeepers Creepers Reborn. Jeepers Creepers Reborn is one of the worst movies ever made. 3 just didn't make sense because it just didn't make sense. But when you find me talking about another movie while doing a review for this movie, that should probably tell you why. It started fine, and I watch it and think, this could be a potential 6. Very surprising. This might actually make a 6. And eventually they started, the characters weren't consistent. Like, the one sister was adopted, and the other sister was nice to her, but then she was horribly scunty to her. And then after that, when she died, they go, well, I miss her, she was the best, yada, yada. Like, no, that's, and the one person who they thought killed, they had him like a surprise. Oh, he was still alive, but they only showed him to be still alive so he could get killed next scene. So, there's a lot of stuff I didn't fully get. These were like zombie type things, because there are lots of humans we've seen that were bitten that turned into, so that kind of jumped it a little bit. Also, the creature that you see on one of the posters isn't the main creature you see inside the movie. There's just a lot. That's why I thought it was Muck, because Muck was very convoluted at times, but it had some comedy in it too, and it had some decent kills. So I did enjoy Muck. It also had Kane Hodder in it. But I can't say the same thing for this, even if it is a spiritual connection to that. So I was thinking as I was watching it might even get 6. The reality is, now that I'm becoming more jaded by some of the things I'm seeing, we're not even going to hand out those easy 5s. I'll give this a 4 or 5 out of 10. There's no part of me that's ever going to want to rewatch it and ever want to show a friend, oh man, you got kids, check out this cool show. Not going to happen. But 12.5 out of 10, movie number 30. There are a couple good movies pending that I'm going to see that you'll get a report on soon. Abigail is one of them. Founders Day is another one. So we'll see. But more than likely than not, the next one you'll see is just going to be another Tubi one, which is what this was. So 4.5 out of 10. And just a reminder for those of you who those single numbers of you who are likely staying to the end of this. I appreciate it, and don't forget about the contest going on. It's just one post earlier, or based on when you're seeing it, maybe a couple posts earlier, but I don't know, some cool stuff in there, and I think it's fun, and it'll be interesting to see what you think about some of the questions too. But on that note, folks, everybody, peace until we meet again.